Peace and blessings to the family of YouTube out there. Assalamu alaikum, Hotat, Shalom, and any of the other blessings out there. This is your host, Lambert C. Davenport. It's going to be known as Sataguru, and Sataguru is Satguru. And what we're going to talk about today is basically how vital to me the Quran was, and to opening up the mystery of the other schools of thoughts, what AKA we call religion, whether it be Christianity, Judaism, Kabbalah, all of that, anything metaphysically, anything basically spiritual. I call religion really spiritual. The reason why there are over 4,000, 3,000 religions is because of us. Just think about this. Even in the diaspora of the whole thing about God, you will find out that there's beliefs that have over 330 million different gods and goddesses. Okay, so throughout the world, there are various numbers of different gods and goddesses and demigods and demiurges and spirits and ancestries, and some people even call the physical people. They call us also spirit. We are gods, and yes, that is true to an essence. We all are the creation of the absolute reality, the absolute consciousness, the absolute power. We are the entity of that, beyond the Big Bang, beyond the, it's like that, what I just did. I clapped, and then you heard the sound. So that is the understanding. That's like a parallel universe. First something happens, and then you hear a sound. So this is the thing about us understanding the Creator. Now, there is no belief. I'm going to say this again. There is no belief. Some people say lie, because you knock out the F. People want to play semantics and everything like that, right? No belying of the spirituality that the absolute supreme being Lord does not exist. There's no denying that. Some people will say, well, if you are into metaphysical and you said there's no creator, but then you claim there's extraterrestrials, and then you want to play semantics when you use the extraterrestrial thing and say, well, anything that comes into this planet Earth, into the solar system, becomes what? Extraterrestrial, right? So it's just like saying extra sensory perception, right? ESP, right? Do we have it? Yeah, we do. But since we're in the state of denial, we cannot bring out these ESPs. Just like when we're in the state of denial of the Most High, you can't see the attributes of the Most High. And as you keep pulling and pulling and pulling, like if it's a particle, you just keep on, unraveling the particle. It shows another particle and another particle and another particle and another particle. Why? Because you don't understand due to your denial. And once you're in that state of ego and entrapment, there is no actually form or way that anybody can get you out. You are held accountable for your own self-pride and self-egotistical self. Now me, I go around the world. If I don't understand something, I don't stand here and listen to people who never left the block. I don't stand here and look at Google and say, oh, it's all Google. You know, I literally go out the country to understand or see anything or even get the feeling of the atmosphere, because I'm going to let you know something. People don't believe this, but you have to check yourself on this. When you walk into a room, right? When you walk into a room, right? What are the first things, and excuse me, I'm gonna have to play a little bit, something for y'all on this one. When you walk in a certain room, right? And people are happy, right? What starts to happen to you? You start to pick up on that collective consciousness that is there in that atmosphere. You start to find yourself being happy. And then when your ego comes in and they try to check you, like, yo, fool, what you happy for? And you're like, yeah, man, let me be cool. You know what I mean? Now that's a form of state of denial right there. Because your ego is like, why are you happy, my man? Because everybody else is happy? Nah, man, check yourself and be cool. So you walk around there, people call it swag or whatever you want to have it, right? And that's your ego. When we go, yo, my man got swag, right? That we're talking about our ego and pride. Yo, look, check him out. You know what I'm saying? My man is flossing. He's shining. That's an egotistical thing, you know. And I tell people like this: I'm not trying to be egotistical in what I believe, but when I look at all the spiritual dynamics in this world, and me personally, I love the Creator, right? I love the Creator, so I'm gonna let y'all know this, that there is one spiritual school of thought, aka religion. Can we just use this for a minute? That is the only spiritual text. Hear me out. It's the only spiritual text out of 4,000 different religions. Now, when those religions come into that spiritual text, we have to see where these people lie on a certain particular religion. And there's a purpose and a reason for that. It's the only one out of 4,000 different religions on this planet we call Earth, on the world, we call Earth in the world. It's only one. Anybody have a guess? Only one spiritual school of thought, aka religion. Now I'm gonna use the word religion to, try not to confuse people in a sense. Is that all right? Can I get y'all YouTube permission on that? Okay, good. Now, it's only one. And I'm not trying to be biased, racist, or anything like that. And I'm talking about in the term of spiritualness, okay? Because I personally and others who are like me out there in the world understands that there's one creator, one path, one way, one king, and that's it. There's the absolute supreme Lord of all things. And just because we do not know it doesn't mean it's a spook. Kids, like I tell people, it's like this. It's very simple, right? When you walk into your house, right? You come in from a demi light area, right? Because now it dependent is light. is dark now, right? And the reflection of objects doesn't shine more, so your eyes doesn't pick it up, right? What is the first thing that you do when you walk into your own apartment or house? Is hit the light switch. That's, I call that the Luciferian button, because Lucifer is the light bearer, right? So Lucifer brings in light, so you can see that which was darkness. He's the light bearer, right? So you can see what, let me repeat it again. Lucifer is the light bearer. So the first thing you do in darkness is want to turn on the light. So Lucifer, being the light bearer, turns on the light for you. So you see. Now you have a certain comfortability and a certain form of safety, because you how can I say, in your domesticated reality, right? In this artificial reality that we all living in, or subject to, you know, you turn on the light because you are afraid to walk in darkness. And we are born in darkness. And when you look beyond the universe, it is more dark. So what comes first, dark or light? Light comes out of darkness, and darkness comes out of light. So it's like a parallel universe. It's quantum mechanics or quantum physics. You know, it's a parallel universe. But it's like saying, what came first, the earth or the heavens? If the heavens is already created, meaning the universe, okay, the heavens meaning the universe, and here comes the earth and the heavens work together and it's slender, that means that that's the Big Bang Theory. But I ain't going to go into that a little more. But what I want to tell people is that there is only one belief out of all the 4,000 religions out there in the world, that they have people, they call them Hafiz, 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 meaning they know their whole spiritual text, okay, and they are guardians and they have great memorization of the whole spiritual text. Now, there is no other belief or AKA religion out there that they can give claims to knowing their whole spiritual text except for Al-Islam, the Al-Din. And there's a reason for this. And y'all have to understand this. Out of this particular spiritual school of thought, there are people called Hafiz who know the whole Quran by memorization. That's deep. And we got to understand something. Our ancestors of the nobility, the people of noble, right, also did what we see today as people of noble do. They distinguished themselves from the rest of the community, from the rest of the people. Even they might believe not that they come from these masses of people, because they feel they are gods and goddesses. As somebody will say, they feel they have the alien gene. So even if that's true per se, because, you know, I tell people, you understand, you read about different entities and go into the spiritual world, and since your eyes can't see, right? Since your eyes can't see everything, like, what can see in the dark? Owls and cats, because of their cones and rods, their eyes, their cells, how it's all different, their brain, how it's all different to pick up and to chill in the darkness. You know what I mean? There's probably other things that see in the dark as well, but there are things that uses different ESP, all right, extrasensory perceptions, and their ability to basically elevate in different elements, whether it be dark, light, cold, hot, whatever, right? They have the ability to adapt and overcome those elements, while we might have to master or get something from the elements to live within the elements, but that itself is artificial. So there's only one spiritual school of thought, text, that we can say as Islam, as a Muslimin, as a Mu'min, we can say that Islam is the only religion that somebody knows the whole text, the whole book. There is none out there. Rather, I love every spiritual school of thought. The reason why is because all the spiritual schools of thoughts is like the rope of a law. It is the chain. It is the linking. It's like DNA. These are the DNA of spirituality. Each one just clicks and confirms the other, and you going up. You understand what I'm saying? And you going up. Each one is supposed to confirm each one. It's not, oh, well, this one came first, so this is the almighty of them all. No, do not belittle the absolute supreme creator and your infinite mind of state of mind. Do not belittle yourself. Because at the end of the day, scientists always go to who? To spiritual people to understand anything, whether it be shamans or not, anything of that. That's all spirituality. And where did they get it from? People say they get it from the animal spirits. Well, everything in this planet must have a spirit then, right? It all goes back to the one, because it's created from the one. Now, if you understand that, then what are we debating about? There is no creator. Obviously there's a creator, but you do not want to admit it. So you cut on the light and darkness. You see what I'm saying? So you can see, and then your ego can make descriptions and decisions and say, well, yeah, I knew that object was there. And you're a damn lie. You never knew the object was there until light shine on the object and you saw the object. See, and this is the problem with people that claim they don't understand the creator, they don't believe in the creator, because probably it's a personal reason. It's probably something deep within inside of your mind, of subconsciousness, that a event happened and you have what I would consider a post-traumatic stress syndrome and spirituality of the creator, who you felt basically like Jesus says, we call him Jesus, but it's not Jesus, right? That's another thing I'm going to get on people about. We're going to change that. We're going to change that. And we got to fight for this. If that's not his name, we need to stop saying that name, right? Some people say Yeshua. Let us find out what's the real name, all right? So until then, we call him Messiah, or we cool with that, all right? So let's call this the Messiah, all right? Even the Messiah says, acts that thou shalt not forsake me. And the Creator did not forsake him. That's the point I want to make too as well when it comes to the spiritual texts and stuff. So Islam is the only spiritual text, right? It's the only spiritual text that individuals memorize the whole Quran, and they are called Hafiz. Out of the 4,000 and 3,000 spiritual schools of thought, Islam have members who know the whole 114 surahs word to word, and that is facts, not illusions, facts. No other spiritual or religious community can attest to that. Islam is the last chain of the word and text. Now, I know there's people who study comedic science and things like that. They don't know all the scrolls and texts because they're basically getting what is given. That's how I can say it like that. You're basically given, and you basically know what is given. And what is given, anything beyond that, you don't know. But Islam will tell you straight off the bat that, boom, we have people who could remember the whole Quran. So this is the thing. This is the beauty of al-Islam. If all the texts, all the papyrus scrolls, whatever was burnt, everything was burnt to death, there will be people who are lost in spiritualness. But this is why Islam is the last text of all spiritual texts. That no matter what happens, see, because here's the thing, the word of Allah, or the absolute, can never be destroyed. So even if, let's say, they got rid of all the books, and when I mean all the books, I'm not being biased or racist, spiritual bias, spiritual anything, racism, excuse me, all racist. But racism is the thing of people believing that they have superior over another spiritual thing. And I'm not claiming Islam has that, because the Quran definitely says it's a recital and it's a confirming of all the al-Kitabs and all of the prophets that gave the al-Kitabs back in the days. So I'm not going to refute or disagree that I'm going to say that Islam is the ultimate. But I put it like this: Islam is the cap. It's where the rope says hold, and that's it. And if you can slide down from all the others and you land in Islam, you all right. Because like I told people, I would not know about the Dogon tribe if it wasn't for the Quran. I'm sorry. People go, well, I said, once I read a surah, a surah, when it says chapter in the Quran, and I read this ayat, and this ayat stuck to me like glue for some reason. Like, it was like, bam, and it just stuck to me, and I couldn't get it off of me. It just was there. It's powerful. The Quran is powerful. It is another form of text when you're into spiritualness that you use. Now, people say, well, that caused great confusion, because how can you be Muslim and then do something Hindu or something of that nature, right? And I would tell people, well, you're the only one who's confused is you, because the whole thing of the matter is you're trying to maintain a racism spirituality. I could dig you if you want to be racist in your spiritualness, meaning that that particular school of thought flows with your personality and character better. Well, I can flow with all of them because I learned out Islam, and the Quran will confirm that. And it's not like people go, well, the reason why the Quran, because it's part of this and part of that. I said, no, you don't understand the Creator. See, people try to take something apart, right? And you try to break it up, right? Okay, if you say that thing, that thing has absolute power, right? It supersedes you. You feel powerless in this thing that has absolute power over you, right? Some people, because you don't believe in the creator, you share you share what's supposed to be given to the creator in the form of his creation, because you don't understand the creator who has absolute power. You understand what I'm saying? That's like saying, oh, well, Lucifer versus the creator. There's no such thing as Lucifer versus the creator. This is why you don't understand. Lucifer asks permission, or Lucifer has the ego and it's like, man, since the creator is not going to, I got to bow down to something and I was made better than this thing. And why should I do that? And this thing is not as, it's glamorous me, doesn't know as much as me and everything like that. That's what y'all saying in the black consciousness community. Y'all are just like that. And not only in the black conscious community. Let me hit it on all of the races. Boom, in every race. In every race. People are just like that. And this is the problem we have out of the whole diaspora of the whole humankind or mankind. Notice the word mankind, right? It's like saying an animal kind, right? Also, it's like saying you have, let's put it this way, you have a cat. There's different forms of cats, right? Different cat kinds, right? Let's look at the bigger ones that we call part of. They got other names for it. Get the name if you want me to. I get that name for you. Because people's like, oh, you gotta be more articulate and stuff like that. Stop mentally masturbating and mentally ejaculating up in here. You know what the hell I'm talking about. Trying to play it off. Oh well, you want to be under a heightened suggestibility of mental words and stuff like that, or newer logistical programming words, and you want to be, oh my gosh, right? So here's the thing. So I'm gonna erase this real quick here, and I'm gonna put up something, because the problem with most people is y'all don't understand something, and it's very simple. It's very simple to understand this, because I love the Quran. I love the Quran. But like I said, the Quran introduced me into the Dogon. How? The Quran has in it, they talk about the mighty Cyrus star. Sirius, Cyrus, dog star, whatever you want to call it. The Quran speaks on this. And you will see, and I said to myself, by the language I understand, the language I was caught into, right, doesn't mean I cannot feel the other languages. This is the thing about what you call extrasensory perception. Just because you don't understand a language, you can't speak it verbally, doesn't mean you can't feel it mentally or understand it mentally or beyond the mental, beyond the mind. It's not like you can't understand that. See, because people don't understand what words are. When you look up a word, W-O-R-D, you take the first letter, because letters themselves speak value. W-O-R-D speaks value. If you spoke different words, you might say W, you might say woo, 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 right? So woo can be like the form of water, a perennial waters, huh? And the ORD is a point. So it's a focal point within the water. So basically when you talking through the water, mind you, and I talk about this in my flat world theory, right? Because everybody says the earth is flat. No, that's incorrect. The earth is in a sphere, okay? But within the earth, what we call the world as continents and land, that's flat. But we know there's hills, valleys, depressions, mountains, etc. But and these mountains, hills, and all of that keeps the land stabilized. Because if y'all thinking about, the earth is on a 23. It's funny, some people say it's on the 23 tilt axle, right? So if the earth is on the 23 tilt axle, right, just think about all the things that are 23. That means it's 5. So you're automatically talking about something beyond something. I don't have to get into that. Like, I got 5, digits, right? I got 5 of these, right? So, I mean, but this is all one hand. You get it? So even in the earth, as some people say, oh, the earth is not flat. You're right, it's not flat. But what's in the earth is flat, called the world. It's the land. It's within the earth. But it's not the earth, it's within the earth. It's like looking at a mother. It would be a perfect example. Within the mother, when she is fertilized and she's conceived, she has something called a baby, right? Within her womb is a baby, another human being, in another dimension, and what? And the world. And word, water. And it's in the ord, and what it does, it channels through a passage, a middle passage. And that's what the earth is to us. We are being reborn or rebirth or going through the middle passage to go to higher dimensions and higher levels and higher realities. Like McNeil said, I'm on another level. He's on other levels. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people are on different levels. There's different worlds. There's like 4 worlds in this earth. And it's different ways that people can understand something. Some people understand things only by visual. Some people understand things because they got great auditorial skills and they can hear and they be like, yeah. Some people understand by mechanics, by tactile. They have to touch it. You know what I'm saying? So people understand by whatever sense or sensors that are more gravitating to them. So that's even have to do with spirituality. There are certain religions or beliefs that are more gravitating to how your personality, your character, and your perception of what you created is more conducive to who you are as a person. So some people say, I can't be into Islam. Well, that's fine. Well, that's fine, because nobody's telling you to be in Islam, first of all. But what somebody's telling you to do is respect all the schools of thoughts. Because this is where all knowledge came from. Science comes out of spirituality. Do not be fooled by that. The best of scientists believes in spirituality. They might not believe in religion because they even tell you religion is the opium of people. And the reason why they can say that so clearly is that you could just take a thing out of the Messiah thing. Like, who wanted to kill him? Was the people who were religious. They wanted to kill him, right? Why? Because they found out there is this Messiah coming amongst the people, and he's going to wake them up, not only from the religious entrapment that entrapped spirituality, thinking they did, right? Thinking they did, right? And they found out through understanding and mastering astrology, right? And found out by these so-called 3 who came to give homage to Mary, and this goes into or these texts, because everything confirms everything else. And this is the problem we have as a people. It's like I try to get at with the cat family. Everything, all the cat families confirmed. Yes, there are different distinctions within the cat. A Black Panther is a Black Panther. It's not a cheetah. You know what I'm saying? And why is it not a cheetah? Because of the different features and functions that it operates by. That's all it does. So when we look at spirituality, what we are looking at is the way that the features are and how it functions in our life. See, and that's why Islam is called a deen of life, a way of life. Like, for instance, Islam would tell you that if you do this, these are the works of shaitan. These are the works of Iblis. This is haram, you know? This is not good. I'm not even going into the outsets of the different forms of religions like Sunni and Shiite. I'm not a Sunni nor a Shiite. I'm none of them above. I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I believe what was given, which that means that was given by the Prophet Muhammad, and I leave it like that. And Muhammad is not my shahada. Like within my shahada, there is no Muhammad. Like in the Quran, it says, surely they cannot believe without adding or subscribing anything to my name. So if I say La ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah and that's a shahada and I take shahada, who am I giving praises to? I am serving two masters. But in the Quran, it tells you that's shirk. Because, see, I'm going to even go into the Quran to tell you that the Quran states that that's shirk. You know, and this is why Muslims to this very day right now is in punishment and they in denial of the very thing that they always laughed at, which was the Jews, the Christians, and everybody else. They in that very same vicious cycle because they have did the very same thing. Because they don't understand this so-called entity called Shaitan. He had made a promise. And it's a promise that you can read in any spiritual belief out there. And then if you don't believe in spirituality, it's cool with me. I could tell you like this, if you don't believe that, and you're an atheist, whatever you want to call yourself, I could tell you, then that Lucifer is your ego. Check. All right? And then, because we can leave it like that. Because at the end of everything, there's only one judger, and it's going to judge us. You know? And if you understand science, like Isaac Newton says, we are energy, compository, right? So we are energy. So energy is something that cannot be destroyed but transformed. So if you know that to be an absolute truth, like where did you get it from? Like you just believe this man's word, that's crazy, right? But if you take it as is, and you wonder where he get that from, he got that from all his spiritual teachings. Don't be fooled. Isaac Newton studied spirituality. In fact, every person that you get anything from studies spirituality. You could talk about, why does the Knight Templar might have a dislike on the Catholic Church or the Roman Catholic? It's because what they did, right? Payback, fucking, right? Excuse me on the word. But that's payback. So what did they do? They go around the world and they conquer the world as a group of people, as they supposed to do, quote unquote, as they supposed to do as a group. When you're a group, you're supposed to conquer things, in a sense. Not conquer it like, well, I'm going to just totally eradicate your whole belief system. And that's what people say in Islam. Well, I'm going to let you know that the Islam you see today, or any religion you see today, is a fabricated of the original Islam, or the original belief that you have. So let's say, because if you got Sunni and Shiite, those are the two biggest ones, and then all the others filter out or whatever they want to say. Oh, Sufi said we weren't Shiite, we wasn't. No, everything filter out of, let's say, the Prophet, right? Okay. Now, Sufi is like, in Christianity, they have something called Gnostics, right? And then Gnostics and Sufism and all that, it's like other different things, like people will go in Egypt and talk about Kemetic science or Metaneta or things like that. Those are people who dwell in the realms of the unseen, the Goliath, like they're trying to understand the unseen and their finite mind. This is something that is beyond your intellect without properly being exposed to the unseen. Now you trying to come back with something from the unseen and expose it as light, right? Because you went into darkness, that's the unseen, and you tried to expose it with light. What did you do just now? See, this is the beauty of the law. If you took something that's unseen, that means that was in darkness, you couldn't see it, and you brought it to light to understand it. What have you done to that object? Now you're going to create this distinctions, and everybody's not going to see that light in the same object. They're going to see it differently compared to their rods and cones of how they perceive life to be. So you have the great debate. I'm not here to do the great debate. That's why God King's movement is so important to life, because there is no debate that God is the king. There is no. Nyame Ohene. There is no debate about that. There's no debate about Ikama Ivata Doratis Yam. He is one and only without a second. And that's in the Upshot. That's in 621. There's no debate about that. You know, there's no debate that you could say Natasa, what we say it like this. You could say, you could go Na Tasaya Pramatina, right? Asiti, right? And what do it mean? There is no image of him. That means there is no image of him. Bring that down a little bit. Of him. That's what that word means. And this, by the way, comes out from the Upasa, right? And that's Hindu, right? And that's Hindu, right? There is no image of him. So when I read the Quran, it led me to understand all of this. So now I'm breaking down pantheism into the one creator. Out of all these so-called many gods and goddesses, I found out that there's only one. Now, how is that possible? So in every belief, in every be-lying, as some people would say, like Brother Polite and Shaka almost, and every be-lying, all right, be-lying, right? Lying. That's what they say. Lying. They say lying, like in every be lying. They call that belief, by the way. Beliefs, right? Because in the leaf, you got be lie. And every be lie, right? Like they say, in every lie there's truth, and every truth there's lie. Woo! Hold on, right? Hold on. And every truth there's a lie, and every lie there's truth. Why? Because this is the world of duality. So, in everything in this world, there's a pair. In everything in this world, there's a pair. Everything. Even when you could claim that is one and has a pair, you know, you can have one thing. Say that's amoeba, right? And the amoeba is male and female, but it's one, which is great. Love this one, but it's one. And in this one, there is two. But when you add it all together, people say there's three. There's three in one. The fact of the matter, the real fact of the that when you look at the amoeba, all you see is one. But when you calculate it up, that's why people could say 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. But you could also say 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 1. You understand what I'm saying? Then when you look at that, 1 and 3 or 4, right? Meaning what? The four worlds. So that will make you understand. Then you take those four worlds and then you could cop that in, times that by 3, and you get what? The 12, right? Which equals back again to the 3. So everything starts to reflect itself. Then you talk about the zodiacs. Then you say, well, in the zodiacs there's 3, right? And in those 3 there are 4 major houses, right? Or you could say 4 constellations or 4 kingdoms or 4 powers beyond the constellations. But it's really in 12 houses out there, right? But guess what? Even in the zodiac of the 12, it is encircled that you can't see. Like we are in the womb, is 1. You see? But for people to understand this, and then even when you do mathematics, right? You do math, you go, oh, well, there's 12, right? Right? And where did this come from? That's hydrogen and helium. How is it 1 and 1? And then where's the 2 at? Where's the second one come from? How did this come into existence, hydrogen, come into existence, and that got one electron, this got 1 electron. How that worked out? Because it came out of something called the absolute. That absolute cannot be described. It has no form. It has no image. It is formless. And this is why you will never, ever, ever, ever see the Most High. Because the Most High is formless. It's like you trying to look in darkness and you can't, because you cannot see in dark. You wasn't made to see in dark. Uh-uh. Your whole features was not made to see in dark. You have to have an apparatus, a device to make you see in dark, and you still doesn't see it as better as the most natural things on this planet. Because what you did is you took from that concept of them, and and the Creator's given you, instilled you with this knowledge, and you have that. Now, like I just told people, Islam is the only religion, I could say it like that, for all peak's sake, spirituality, schools of thought, where there are members who are called Hafiz that know the whole Quran, and there's nobody out there besides Islam that knows their whole text. None. Think about that. That's 114. That's 114 texts out there. I mean, surahs out there. Like there's 114 chakras. But like I've been to people and I've been asking people this question: where can I find that out? And everybody's on some secret stuff. And this is where the great dividing comes from. You know, there are people that try to keep their knowledge known only for the few. This is the Willie Lynch. This is where people think that here is the word. There's smart people and there's dumb, right? Right? Here's duality. Here's another duality. Smart and dumb. There are people that think the only smart people here, they're the ones that you will see have all of the money, right? But they don't have the money because of them. No. What they do is they come down here to the dumb people, right? That's all the conscious people. That's, and while you're so intrigued by these so-called smart people, these smart people say, well, to understand what I know, you got to pay a fee. Any fee. It could be membership, it could be anything, right? And you're going to learn what we know, right? So right then and there, you create another thing. You create something called a hierarchy, right? You create a hierarchy automatically because you're subject to their objective, all right? Because their objective, you're the subject, okay? They're the ones that object. They're the ones that give you the objects for you to subject. Meaning, for you, as they say, the deepest parts are hidden in the subconscious. And you have the conscious. These people are, when you got conscious, like if you say convict, right? It comes negative, right? So you have something called sensuous, right? You got conscious, you got something out of the conscious called sensation. And what the hell is ascension? Think about that. That's, some people say that's not a word. Go look it up. You never know. You might be amused. But here you are. You have people who are smart. These are your scholars and everybody like that, people could say, right? And try to belittle the people they consider dumb, because here it is. These people normally, they have time or made time, okay? And then they have people, when you study them, they have people who taught them, have mentors. And then they came up with this ego, wow, and then want to show the dumb people, quote unquote, these are the people who are entrapped by the materialism. They are dancing with Maya so bad. But these people dance with Maya even worse. Now, that creates a hierarchy, right? Now, people say, well, what are you doing if you got this God is King movement? Notice something. My hierarchy is not mine, right? My hierarchy, first of all, let's just say I love this word. I don't know why. But it is God is King, right? It is God is King. It means God is King. Nyame Ohene. That means God is King. Nyame is the hierarchy. Nyame is the smart. You understand what I'm saying? And we're not dumb. We are the children of Nyame. You understand that? There's a difference in the movement that I'm coming with. There's a difference between this gives you everything you need. This God King's movement gives you what you need, what you've been waiting for, what you've been praying for. And the word pray, when you look at it, you see that P? That's important within itself. You see that Ray? But then when you see that Y? So let me put it down for y'all to see this real good. All right, I want y'all to see this real good. So remember the hierarchy of this, of God is King, like the hierarchy of anything, should be the creator. Because we are the creation, or the absolute reality, or whichever name you want to call it. See, because in the Quran it says something, call me by the most beautiful names. See, right there it makes no distinction that, if you're Muslim, you say Allah. But if you into a tribal and states like that, you say Nyame, so, or you say Yami or whatever. The creator in the Quran, he lets you know, call me by the most beautiful names because he understands the dynamics of culture and race and ethnicity and all of that. So the creator is not hooked on that. And when I studied Islam, I wasn't hooked on that. You see, when I went to Persian Gulf and I studied from the first original Persian Gulf, first of all, you're looking at the very first person or one of the ones from the military who had influenced the force of the Persian Gulf War. You're looking at him clear as you hear him speak. One of the first who had such a great influence in the pursuit of wisdom, in the pursuit of understanding, understanding, and overstanding in life. In the pursuit of that, people either took Shahada, what they called Shahada at that time, but the difference between us, we didn't use a word called convert. We use a word called revert, meaning that what the knowledge and wisdom we already had, that wasn't a convert. We ain't conversion nothing. We reversion, and we did a reversion of what we did, meaning that what we knew, it revised what we already had. So it refined us. It made us better. It repeated the versions. So now we have the repeating of all of the versions that came before us. And now we can see beyond the spectrum. We can see beyond the spectrum, meaning we can see in the darkness without worrying about images and stuff like that. Sometimes when I go home, I like to practice certain things. Like I'm coming out of many lights and demi lights and all of that. And what I like to do is practice walking in darkness. Of course, people say, well, there's boogeymans and boom, boom, boom. That means you're scared of the dark. But getting back to me, I was one of the first who started in Islam very strong. We pushed the military to have an Iman. They never had an Iman before the Persian Gulf War. And that's facts. Islam wasn't studied until after the Persian Gulf War. You're talking about in the 1990s. Now, did the European people in their hierarchy know about Islam? You damn 110% correcto, they know about it. They know about it, bro. However, as far as the materialistic or the physical plane, it wasn't into existence until you were looking at part of the people who created, who really pushed Islam. I can tell you like this, I was a part of the person that they were willing to pay my military contract, my duties, to become in the order of Iman or things like that, to learn Islam because of how many people I was influencing in my own damn division of 101st. Our crew, small crew of us, and the beauty of it is this. I was telling Christians, listen, I'm not trying to get you to revise the revision that you want. I like Islam because it gave me some understanding. I love the Quran because it gave me some understanding of the things that I didn't know before. It kind of clarified and cleared up things I didn't know. And then from there, it made me pursue other beliefs, and I used the Quran through those beliefs to even have understanding of those beliefs. So now I don't have a distinction about the different prophets that went through the different worlds to give it to the people as is. So if they was a panther, okay, they only speak to their ways and the features and functions of a panther. So then the Allah gave it his spiritual teachings to someone who was a lion. And the lion spoke only in the features and functions of a lion. And then he went and spoke to people who were of the cheetahs. And the cheetahs spoke to the cheetahs and the functions and features and characteristics that they speak of. And etc., etc., etc. Do you understand what I'm saying? And understand it and overstand it? Because when you look at something, you got to look at it from a three angle, meaning you did a pyramid, didn't you? Huh? But in the pyramid, you know, it is all types of stuff up in there. So you done encircle it to its fullness, not 33 degrees. You went around that sucker 360. You landed at the end of what they call the alpha to the omega. And you said, whoa. You said, whoa. And that's what the Quran did. It made me say, whoa. You know? And that's what people have to come to understand. This is the beauty of our Islam. The real Islam. No fake Islam. I tell people like this. As far as you distinguishing, because people want to distinguish something, right? If you look and really read your scriptures, I put it like this, the most easiest one of them all, because it's Christians who have this great debate, and y'all not serving the Creator, you're serving Christ. Okay? And Christ, what you call Christ, you're serving the Messiah, and the Messiah was sent by the Most High, the absolute Creator. And you're serving something that is a part of, and you're looking at this as something greater than who you are, then you don't know that ye are gods and goddesses, right? And I don't like to say gods and goddesses because that's a separation. See, and this is why I showed a thing of a king called Mantakuru, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, I think I spell it right here. If that's incorrect, somebody could always correct me. Maybe the N is not there, or maybe it is there. But this is a king with the famous queen on the side. What I love about this is that the queen holds his bicep and holds his ribs, and that to me was a symbolic symbol of the understanding of the unity of one. That in Genesis it talk about let no one separate y'all two. So that we become one again. We become the Adam Kundama. Okay, in what is in the studies of the Kabbalah, we become the Adam Kundama. Okay, so that means that the masculine and the feminine principle becomes the yin and the yang. Within the yin and the yang is in a what? Circle. Okay, even in the Munah. The Munah, that part that's in the pyramid, is in a circle within a circle, in a circle, in a circle. It's infinite. It overlaps things. So the Quran is just the overlapping of the ancient texts. And the reason why the so-called people who trying to rule the world, called the European hierarchies, dislike this is because they're trying to create something called a one religion. I'm trying to create something called one spirituality, schools of thought, meaning that In the one, there are many houses in our mansion, right? Right? Many houses in our mansion, right? So what happens here? I'm telling you, well, we're going to learn all the houses and have respect for all of them, right? Have respect for all of them, right? Why? Because that is the true our Islam. I would, like I said, how would I know about, I did not know about this star which I come up to these people and I have my symbol right here. Boom. If anybody familiar with that. That's from the Dogon. And you know what the Dogon says? They have a saying. Second to the creator. And they're not trying to say this as this is with the creator. No, they letting you know after the creator. Second to the creator is the woman. It's the woman's milk, the woman's breast. She feeds life into this world. So she respected. And this is another thing that I gotta show people before I let y'all go. And y'all can have a great day and everything like that. And peace and blessings to the family of the whole world. Okay? And let us come together. Okay, I'm gonna show y'all something. This is the facts right here. Androgynous. All right, let's call this Adam Kadam, right? All right, within Adam Kadam, boom, we're gonna go down, right? Within Adam Kadam, the first thing that comes up is the female. This is in the natural world. After that comes the male. Boom, right? Now, in between this channel, called something, when it stops, called hermaphrodites. They got masculine and feminine genes, right? So now you got 1, 2, oh well, you got 1, 2, and 3, right? You got 1, 2, and 3. A hermaphrodite really is what you could consider Horus to be. The reason why I'm explaining this to you, and I'm not trying to disrespect anything, is because the first thing people have to understand, and this is when you learn embryology, is that there was no gender. So that's androgynous. Where's the gender at? You can't find it. That's the Adam Kadam. From that, when you come into the dimensions of materialism, it becomes phenomenon. And this is why right now, the internet, as we know it, and its capabilities, the internet was created for the physics people to understand nuclear fusion. Okay, so they was talking amongst themselves to understand something called nuclear fusion because they want to create another creation. They want to be the creator. Okay, and this is why you hear about something called CERNs. All right, and CERNs is another name for a demon god, right? So this is why they have a certain Hindu picture up there of a particular god, but they're going into the demi rings. Like I said, even people who claim they're scientists and atheists, their whole thing have to do with spirituality. So like I said from the beginning, don't try to come up to us. Spirituality, when I say spirituality, you know that's metaphysics. Metaphysics is spirituality too. Just all we do is just take a word and we try to change them into different contexts. Like if I say, if you say, oh, I killed something, rather you killed it by your bare hands, a knife, a fork, a stick, a gun, a bomb, or whatever, the damn thing was killed. But you trying to escalate. Well, it's killed better when it's killed by a gun. You killed it. It's done. That's it. It's just that simple. Human beings want to complex things and make it complicated. So this is why I talk about androgynous to female to masculine. But in between the female and masculine, sometimes it has a tendency to become hermaphrodite. Now the hermaphrodite is Osiris. It's not Osiris, it's Horus. And I'm explaining this, not saying a little by little. But let me explain what I mean by that, because I know people gonna get confused. What the hell you just said, right? Okay, if you have a thing recorded, right? Cyrus, right? And you have, let me put Horus here, and I'm just using these so-called Greek names, right? Okay, here you have is the male, female, and the child, right? Here you have is the female principle, which is closer to the right? I'm gonna get in there, right? It's closer, and here you have the masculine principle, right? Now, what I mean by hermaphrodite, meaning a hermaphrodite is have the characteristics of both sexes, right? But when you think of that, you think of it on the physical realm, you know? You think of it on the physical realm. So think it, check it. Boom. This got 23. It's really 22 plus one germ cell. Really 22 plus one germ cell. You got 23 there, right? Now, to make this possible, these come together, they fuse, they have a nuclear fusion, right? Come together, create a torque, create a torque, and in this torque, it's 46 combinations. Now, look at this work. Look at this. God created what? On the sixth day. Right? And what happens? You got the 4 different worlds. So it goes through 4 cycles of 6. Then it forms itself to what? To 10. To what? To 1. So it becomes 1 itself. And then that's where you got the 1 and 1. And you got what is called the triunity or the Trinity. You got the triunity. This is what you see in the Kemetic science. But really, it's not it's not even it's a triunity, meaning you should have nothing but unity, because when you come to something called the Kether, okay, that is God unity. That means God is unity. You come into the crown. So when you come to the crown, you understand the you understand the Brahma, you understand the Nyame, you understand Allah, you understand Yahweh, you understand Jehovah, whatever name you want to come with, flow with, I'm ready. You understand? I'm ready. That's what this right here also is the hermaphrodite, and the physical sense that this child goes through both stages. And sometimes going through both stages, depending on what's going on, you create hermaphrodites. And they had a land that were mostly hermaphrodites. See, but this is another thing. When I got into the 22 and plus that 1 germ cell, right? Plus that 1 germ cell, and I told you about the Adam Kadam, right? Now here, that's funny again, right? Adam Kadam, and then you got hermaphrodites with all of it together, masculine and feminine together. Remember that? And they come out to be what? 1. Point in case. Point in case is this. Point in case is this. It says this word, like I keep trying to tell people, all right? This right here, that word right there, that's Hindu. What do it mean? He is, and when they were saying he, they're not saying the creator's agenda. Only without a second. But however, the creator reflects things outwards, and we should give all praises and due to the absolute. Right? This is, and I'm studying different understandings. So why? I'm not fighting this no more. You are, because you're making the distinction. There is no distinction in my creator no more. When I look at pantheism, I understand that pantheism, what they do, what they basically did and forgot the old ancient teachers, is that they went around and wanted to respect everything and the creation that was created by the creator. Now, monotheism saying that everything is created by the creator, but thou shalt worship only one creator, meaning you should serve only one creator. Now, the thing about what makes Islam unique and distinct is that Islam tells you that although these things were created by the creator, right, they serve us. Bam! In your face. Now, by them serving us, we have to be like the creator in the sense of respecting that, and that's where you get pantheism from. That's where you get this so-called Kemetic science from, this Hindu from, and anything other than that within the pantheon type of knowledge, Let's get back to the truth, like I said. You know, like it says right here, he is one only without a second. There is none unto him, Let's get back to this. Stop playing games. You know, people got to understand something. Stop playing games, you know. Here's another thing. You see a child, right? We call Horus, right? And I said Horus was hermaphrodite. The reason why I said that, because a child is a parent. I'm gonna put mother first, and then I'm gonna put daddy, right? This child has 23 and 23 of these, which makes 46 in the middle, which comes out to 10, which comes out to 1, right? Okay, that's the child. Now, in this child, this child is hermaphrodite in a sense. It has both of the parents' genes within it. And this concept and idea, if you can tweak the the consciousness, if you could tweak the consciousness of this, right, then you run into this. Now, homo, they try to say means one sexual, but here's the deal. If this means just one sexual or one sex, right? Just that's all that means. Then when you say somebody homosexual, what are you talking about? You're talking about a word called desires, right? Their desires happen to be for one homosexual, one sex. That's it. Their desires, what they desire, what they what they are passionate for, or what they have lust for, etc. These desires, this thing, comes into homosexual. That's all that is. It's their passion and lust, their desires, It's come from one sex. Now, the reason why is because, like I told you, it all have to do with that 46. Because people cannot understand this 46, right? This is us, and this is the four worlds. Now, how did it come to four? Huh? How did it come to four? This is what happened. 1 plus 2 plus 3. Here comes the 4. Y'all can see that? When you add that all together, it's 10. Right? But here's the here is Osiris, here's Isis, here's Horus. What happened was they stopped here. Huh? They stopped there, and the gene or the consciousness created in this creates a thing of two parallels, meaning they became hermaphrodite. And then within that hermaphrodite consciousness, they had a fluctuation to understand, to come back to the 3. They came into the world as a desire for one sex by subconscious consciousness and unconsciousness vibrations. They desire. So homosexual is basically a desire, a lust, a passion, and sometimes it's a trauma that occurred to make them want just one sex. So when the DSM manual back in the days said that homosexuality was a mental illness, it is a mental illness. It's a physical illness. It's a spiritual illness. Why? Because what happens is the consciousness is stuck in the realm of what you consider to be hermaphrodite. You understand what I'm saying? And this is the beauty of Islam, because Islam tried to bring back all of that and want people to understand, I understand your pain, your mental, your physical, and your spiritual pain that you have endured. But this is what keeps us going as a people. It's our fusion of masculine and feminine principles together becoming as one. Let no one separate you. Therefore, you won't have a hermaphrodite. But hermaphrodite is created for us to understand the confusion that we have. The confusion between the gods and the goddess. The goddess is the god. See, what we did was we took, like I said, everything in this world has duality. So if everything has duality, it also has trinity or triology. It's got to have a third. Then if it got to have a third, it's got to have a fourth. It's got to have a fifth. It's got to have a sixth. It's got to have a seventh. It goes on and infinite. Y'all understand what I'm starting to say? And this is the beauty of the Creator. It became that Big Bang. Okay? It became that Big Bang. This is your host, Lambert C. Davenport, coming from Can I pretty much keep it simple? All you gotta do is email me, please. Email me at God is King Movement, that's MVMT, at Gmail. That's all you gotta do. It's that simple thing. Until we meet again, peace and blessings to the family and everybody out there. And as we leave, let me hit y'all with a little music, right? Because so we hit you with a little music before that. Let's go.
sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. Wonder this time where she's gone. Wonder if she's gone to stay. Ain't no sunshine when you're gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. I do, 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 I do. Hey, I ought to leave the young thing alone, but ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away.
Peace. Shalom. Hotel.